Let's give them something to talk about. I see the energy running out. I got a planet to run around. Okay. You ain't do nothing but run your mouth. No, I don't want to be humble now. You doubted me.
All right, we're live.
Boom.
Cool. Still raining.
Yep.
California. If in case we have anybody that's outside of California, I don't know where our listeners are, and I'm not going to bother to look at where our listeners are coming from and our stats or anything. I do look at like number of views.
Yeah.
I noticed our snippets get more views. Like when I do the snippets and put those out, they're just easier to watch.
I see the numbers rising a little bit faster.
Yeah, they are. They're coming around. The snippets are. People are probably saying right now, any of the 20 listeners that are listening to us or are going to watch.
We got one.
of the 20 that are gonna listen to it or watch us, they'll say, put more of the snippets out. But those snippets are a pain in the ass to create.
You've been doing a really good job with it.
Mad respect for the people that can take the time to do that stuff. All those podcasts out there that create the snippets. There's the professional podcasts.
It's like a whole job.
They have teams of people that do that shit. And then Savon's got Matt Souza.
Yeah. He killed it last week.
Yeah, he killed it. And then Hiller's got to spend just hours.
Oh man,
doing those cutting. And then like the Richie guy, Craig Richie, and the Buttery Bros. Like those guys are professionals. But they spend. I have again, like I said, if you watch their stuff and you say, "Hey, that's cool, let's watch it," they spend hours and hours compiling, cutting, editing, and then creating snippets to put out, promotional stuff.
But that's videography in a nutshell, right?
Well,
like
it's people think it's sexy and fun, and it is.
It doesn't just happen in front of the camera. This right now, like it's everything in the post.
Just like anything.
Yeah,
hard work. It usually yields results, and I'm like, because I don't want to say hard work pays off because it just annoys me. That's become a thing.
It was a saying beforehand, right?
It was a saying beforehand. Now it's like anytime I say it, it's like reference to kudos to them for laying claim to that. But you got to work. The harder working people are going to rise to the top. In this business. So Jamie and I are trying to not be lazy and work hard and make our podcast.
We're learning every week, like even this week. Put the headphones in the right fucking head jack.
Oh yeah, but we're getting better. Anyway, so we're talking. I wanted to talk a little bit about having a competition environment within the gym.
Yeah,
competition class, competition athletes,
a program in general,
competition program.
Yeah.
In addition to regular class. The general population, which pays the bills.
Mm-hmm. That's something not to get confused with. Having a competition class is like an extra, right?
Yeah, it is. It's and even having anything that's dedicated to competition, but it's relevant now, and people are talking about it now because we're getting close to the Open.
Yep.
And so you get athletes wanting to do extra, wanting to do more stuff. Here's the other reason why it's relevant now. Besides the Open, but CrossFit recently released their new marketing initiative surrounding the mission and the brand and its legacy, and its content that people have been affiliate owners have been asking for, related to the magic or the formula of CrossFit and the success it has in changing people's lives. What's cool is they did not forsake, and they are not forsaking their legacy. And if you haven't seen Nicole Carroll's piece on CrossFit.com, go there, look it up. You can go to my Instagram, and if you want to click on it, I have a link in my bio to that article because the article is outstanding. Mm-hmm. She's a really good writer. She obviously put a lot of time into it because it really distills down what is really important about CrossFit and the history of CrossFit. She addresses the changes that they've gone through in the last 4 years, dramatic changes from CEO changes to mass firings to focus on the shutdown of the media for about a year and a half, 2 years.
Yep.
But all of that, how it has then led to kind of a need for a need for restatement of the values and mission of CrossFit, and it's really freaking good. And what's cool is and one of the things that are said, and it's been said in multiple pieces, is CrossFit, forges elite fitness and reverses chronic disease.
Yeah.
The two together.
Yeah.
Which it does do. And I think that, and it talks about the importance of CrossFit as a sport, and the sport is only made possible
by the forging elite
fitness.
Yeah.
Well, also the fact that CrossFit is measurable and repeatable.
Yeah.
Unlike any other, well, not unlike most other fitness methodologies.
When you look at what is fitness, right? Like CrossFit's the one that defined fitness.
That's right.
Glassman with the 10 physical skills, right? And
increase work capacity across broad time days. Yeah. Increase work as simple as possible. And so then the competition, the sport, allows us to demonstrate that. One, and it can be, what's really cool is through the open, anybody in the world can do it. I can do the workout here, and someone in Asia can do it, and they'll do the same exact workout with the same standards, and it's measurable and repeatable. That allows the competition to happen. So it's kind of a proof of one of the key tenets of CrossFit: measurable and repeatable, and then evidence-based fitness. So and that's one of the things that she makes clear in that article as well, is that this isn't just an exercise routine. Yeah. This is a proven formula that works. We have hundreds of thousands of success stories,
probably more than that at this point,
right? But it does allow for the sport. And the other part about the sport, and this is the point that I make often, is that it is the sport itself and the open and the games are a unique and distinguishing characteristics of CrossFit. No other methodology has these things, and it'd be very difficult to duplicate them, which leads us to, at Diablo, to want to support the open for a number of different reasons. One, because we want to support the sport. Jamie, is keenly interested in the open from a perspective of a programmer, of testing or having his communities test their fitness once a year. That's a awesome way to do it.
I consider it to be kind of our year end, right? Like this is we've spent the entire year training up until this point where we can test ourselves, and it's basically through the general GPP.
Yeah.
We don't know what's coming. Be prepared.
Right. And then the last part is that it allows our members to engage in the same sport that the best in the world do, and they get to see what it's like to do that. And then, like me, I can be in awe of what the physical capacity of a human being is. It's really remarkable
and CrossFit's been doing the job at pushing that human capacity,
right?
Right? And there's nobody else out there that's actually testing the human capacity the way that CrossFit has been. I mean, you think about what the games looked like in 2010 versus 2020, even today, right? It's
well, the media production is better, but then also the athletes.
I'm talking from just pure, it's
pure performance.
Wild.
Oh yeah, it is, and it's really freaking cool, and it's sexy, so that gets more attention. And as a result of it getting more attention and more publicity, there is a portion of the viewing public that thinks, well, that's what CrossFit is.
Yeah.
And so there's affiliates that get bothered by that, because then they think that it inhibits people from coming to their affiliate, because they think that's what CrossFit is in its entirety.
Yeah.
And we all know, and affiliate owners know, and members of our community know, that it's so much more than that. That's just a sliver of everything that CrossFit does.
The tip of the spear.
Right. But I argue that we still have to have it. And it's okay that it's sexy and cool, and because it brings attention that we might not ordinarily get. If we were just a fitness methodology with our success stories, we'd be, simply competing against other people that would be out there saying the same things.
Yeah.
Maybe not be able to prove it, but saying, transformation stories.
Yeah.
We see those all the time. I say those all the time on social media. The transformations using, so-and-so's fitness
fitness
melody or
program.
diet or whatever it is.
Yeah.
We just be competing against that. But because we have the games, we can prove it.
Well, it's also the fact that it's been defined, right? Like there's very clear ways of defining your fitness.
Right.
You know, it's a tape measure your distance,
Right.
time it. How much does it weigh? Like put it all together.
Yeah, you've got a formula.
There's a lot of different programs out there. Like you said, there's a lot of different programs out there that are bringing some results, but it's not quantifiable in the way that we do it.
That's right. Ours is aesthetic. You'll see the aesthetic changes, but you'll also see
which is
proven.
Yeah. The aesthetic though is a byproduct of the proven methodology. Right.
Absolutely. So increase work capacity. Anyway, so that brings us to kind of the process at gyms that offer a competition class, and it's admittedly it's not an easy thing to do. You will have members master, and I used to think it was just only your younger members, but it's our masters athletes are just as
anybody that's got a competitive drive is going to want to be involved in some form of competition,
especially as they start to make progress within the gym.
Yeah.
And I've seen it here with a number of athletes. They come in, they're okay. They're quiet. And then all of a sudden they start to make progress. They get their double unders, they get linking pull-ups,
they get the muscle up.
They get the muscle up. And then all of a sudden they're like, the open comes around. They're like, oh, maybe I can make that top 10%. And CrossFit, by the way, brilliant move.
Such a good move.
I'm making it 10% for masters to qualify, 10% for the next round.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And it, because people do want to strive to the next level. And then it creates, well, I'll get into the benefits of that and what that means for an affiliate in terms of opportunity for, revenue generation and keeping your affiliate going. But having a competition program, I think is super powerful. I don't want to say essential because there's a lot of CrossFits out there that don't have it at all, but it's not essential, but it is super powerful. But it takes energy and resources to manage it, and you have to manage it.
Yeah. It's not something that you just plug and play. It's something that you have to tinker with.
The first thing
all the time.
All right. The first thing to talk about, let me touch on a couple sensitive subjects relative to this, because we've been there with all of it, the relationship dramas, the team, all of the qualifying, how you do qualifying, who gets to be on the team, who doesn't get to be on the team. We could have 3 weeks of podcast just talking about that shit.
Recording the workouts,
open workouts,
repeats of open workouts,
all of it.
It's endless. It really is endless.
But okay, but let's. The one thing I want to talk about that is significant, because I've gone back and forth on this, and now I'm pretty adamant about it, is allowing your competitors to do other people's programming. And we originally started out back in the day as Diablo provided programming for the competitive athletes. And then I think the first real popular program that came out there was CompTrain. And he captured a lot of market share. Great move, Ben Bergeron, to offer CompTrain, make it public, competition programming for athletes. And pretty soon we started seeing our athletes training, not doing class, doing open gym only, and doing CompTrain programming, and then Invictus programming. And then all the other different competition programs are out there. And it was, at first, it was, for me, I was okay with it. We provide the environment for them to succeed. We support them, and they'll have success. Unfortunately, it also created distractions with our regular community, especially those, what I call fringe athletes, the ones that are just on the edge of maybe being ready to compete, and those that, and maybe just staying in class and getting better in class first. They would see athletes doing that other programming and think, oh, I want to do that. And that would take them out of class. It'd be a distraction. And then they'd start to make comparisons between, say, CompTrain's programming and Diablo's traditional programming, or Diablo's competition programming. And it became something we had to manage. It was a pain in the ass. One of the things that drove me crazy was, that there would be some of those programs would have multiple pieces of equipment.
2 barbells, a rower, a skier,
Oh, yeah.
pull-up bar, and
no lie.
let's not forget a rope,
Yeah,
a climbing rope.
And then, the coach is coaching class, and the competition athlete comes out of the open gym area and goes up to the coach and says, "Hey, I need to use a rope. Would it interfere with your class if I use a rope?" As part of that whole,
which happens to be right in the middle of the facility.
Right. And so that kind of stuff started affecting our community. And so, and I think where we are now is the best. So I have to kind of lean towards what we're doing now, which is Jamie Lee writes our programming, and then we asked for, and he delivered competition programming that our athletes use. And he works with 2 athletes, including Alessandra Pacelli, who's been to the games 9 times, to help design that programming. And then he makes available custom programming for those athletes, which is cool. They pay extra for it. Yeah. But that programming is aligned with what we do in the gym. Mm-hmm. So what I would say to affiliates is, if you're going to do a competition program, pick either be prepared to write that programming yourself, which is fine. A lot of affiliate owners can do that, or select a program that includes competition programming that aligns with what class is doing, so that those athletes from time to time can be in class.
Yeah. That's kind of
how hard is that to do? Let me ask you that.
It's difficult. It's difficult sometimes. And just to take it back, I've been here at Diablo for 10 years,
right?
Almost 12 years at this point. And we had a Plan D class, we had a competition class, and now we're at an RX Plus class. And I think that this RX Plus class has been more of an organic building off of what we do in class. For example, Jackson Miller, he's one of our coaches in the gym, but he's also the one that came to me and said, "Hey, I want to really build out this program for our competitive group." And we've always had, a Saturday session where we get together and we throw some stuff together and, increase the intensity by creating that competitive environment, which is what a competition class should do. It should increase the competitive environment. It shouldn't separate the community. It should be building it up. Now, when we started this program, it started in class, and what we did was we just started adding accessory work. So the group would do the class, and then they would go off and do some accessory work in the open gym. And right now we are specifically taking, a couple days a week to make sure the competition group is a part of the group and a part of the community and doing classes with the general class. That has seemed to work out really well because it's creating a good camaraderie between the competitors. They're all doing the same thing. They're having fun competing against each other, but at the same time, they're doing class. So, like you said, those that are watching people in the open gym doing God knows what, they're actually being a part of the process and moving through, a general gym environment and then progressing to, what could be elite.
All right. That is, having those competitors be part of your community is essential, and that takes active management from the affiliate owner.
Yeah.
You have to lay down some standards for your competitive athletes. You have to remind them often of those standards.
Yeah.
And encourage them to be part of that community. And in this case, for this last 2 years, it's worked really well. Our community knows who these athletes are, and when they're in class, they're excited to see them in class and have them as doing the same workout, even if it's a scaled up or an RX Plus version of it. And then we have of course, once a week we have RX Plus class. It's on Saturday afternoons, and they go for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And we do it as the last class on Saturday so they can have the gym the rest of the day if they wanted it.
We also added a Wednesday class, right? Because the group was getting so big. It wasn't just a handful of people.
Right.
It was a large group that, wanted to get a little bit more coaching and some specific stuff in that competitive environment. So we have a weightlifting program
on
Wednesday, built into that on Wednesday
nights. And again, it's late in the day. and it's not so that it's not as like cutting into your main gym times.
Logistically, it's important that it doesn't affect the community.
Logistically and financially.
All
like you don't want to replace a primetime class with a competition class. And the just right up front, the competition class, like the RX Plus class, is a younger group of members. And for affiliate owners, that younger group of members tend to be less sticky. By that I mean they probably won't be your 3-year, 5-year, 6-year, 10-year members, because they're young, they have they move, they have job changes, all kinds of stuff going on in their lives, they get married and they change, so that it is not as sticky a member. But it is an important member to your community in terms of creating energy, excitement, and love of the sport. And we, as a result of having those athletes, I think back to our past teams and Alessandro Pacelli, for example, it created fans of the sport for a CrossFit. And creating fans of the sport means that you've got another hook in them. They want to continue to do CrossFit. So they feel like, I want to be a fan of the sport. Well, I got to do CrossFit to be a fan of the sport, which is kind of cool.
So I think that's, like you said, it's not essential, but if you have the talent and the competitive athletes that are looking for more, it's not a bad idea to start thinking about how to implement accessory work to give them a little extra, because I agree with the fact that, one workout a day is enough. But when you look at these athletes that are competing, quarterfinals, make it into the quarterfinals, I think one workout a day will get you there.
Sure.
Right. If you push the intensity and really take care of your
and don't miss your lift days.
Exactly. Yeah. And continue on that drive of getting stronger and better and everything. But to move it on to the semifinals and even the games, one workout a day is not going to do the trick.
That's right.
So how do you implement that into your programming where it doesn't alienate the rest of the community I think that is the trick.
Yeah. It starts with, like you said, accessory programming, making available accessory programming, and they can pay extra for that.
Yeah. And honestly, we do write, PRs compete. Alessandra and Jackson and I, we get together and we write out the whole month along with that aligns with what we're doing as our progressive programming. But at the same time, if an athlete really wants to and is also ready to move towards that semifinal or games, a generic program may not be the trick.
No.
Right. That's when you start thinking about having a coach that's going to be there to, give you a little bit more specifics.
That's right.
Right.
For that individual athlete. Which creates, if the gym is capable enough, creates a revenue opportunity for the gym.
Yeah.
Writing accessory programming is really efficient.
Yeah.
Let the athlete do the work. You don't have to be there to coach them. Maybe you coach them once a month, have a PT session with them. And it's one of the things that we do is we offer accessory programming for an extra fee. And then we also offer full custom programming. Where a coach is writing programming just for that athlete.
Yeah.
But this is a great transition, because the next thing I wanted to talk about is masters athletes, because and I'm sure a lot of affiliates are feeling this, is you get masters athletes that want to move on to quarterfinals. And that's really freaking cool. We do a couple different things. We started first, we tell our masters athletes, look, just come to class and fucking give it your all. Don't half-ass the Metcons, go full range of motion, really work hard and do class weight shoot. And then we offer a Masters RX Plus class, which is a competitor's class for masters. I coach that, and I do it and I participate in it. So it's a coach participating class, which is fun. It's more like a throwdown thing,
which is also the same as RX Plus.
That's right.
Yeah.
Coach participates. Right? And that's one thing about the RX Plus classes is they're not as much a coach class as they are the athletes getting together and going head to head against each other.
Yeah.
And talking through, let me tell you how our Masters RX Plus class goes. So we come in, it's a warm up on your own. We write it down, actually, a suggested warm up. We say, you get through this. By the way, with Masters, the first rule I put up there is NFA, no fucking around, because masters will come in and they'll talk and they'll
It's easy to get stuck rolling out and mobilizing for an hour.
They'll go forever. So they get in, I give them 20 minutes to get through the warm up. And then we get into, and Jamie programs this. We have usually a skill EMOM, where we do an EMOM, and it's usually anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes, something like in that range. Challenging, but with the intent of improving skills, learning pacing, learning appropriate scaling.
Yep.
And anyway, so we'll do that together. Then we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it before we start it, like kind of things to think about. We suggest different ways of approaching, say, box jump overs, with technique for it, but a burpee over bars, we'll discuss the technique. If they're struggling with a double under, some things they can do during the EMOM to make themselves better at that. Then we take a break, and talk about the results of that. And then we'll go into and talk about the Metcon that's coming up. And that Metcon right now we're doing, which cool, is we're doing open versions of the open workouts, but we'll talk about strategies and we'll kind of get a feel for what we did in the past, how we should look at our performance, what kind of speeds we should set, and so that we can match our performances of the past or beat our past performances. So all of those things. And then we go through it together, and then we talk about it at the end. And it's a lot of fun. That class is actually more of a kind of a bonding time for the masters, but we all do push each other to get better. And the RX Plus class is very similar.
Just the same, yeah.
And it turns out to be it's a really fun time.
Yeah.
And everybody enjoys getting together. And it's more throwdown style.
Yeah.
And I really like that rather than a really structured,
I think that's
coach-driven class.
Yeah, I think that's kind of critical, is having a really structured class where you have a coach that's leading it. You could have some athletes that, have maybe their own little issues that they're working on, and having a little bit more of a free-formed class where it's more of a throwdown style, they can address those individual things, whether it be a mobility thing or, hey, I've got this issue with this skill, I'm going to work on this skill while we're doing all of these skills. So it's important for the athletes to also take accountability during this time. Right. It's not like they're just jumping into a class where they're just going to go by what the coach is telling them to do. They need to be prepared to be efficient on their own.
Yep. By the way, just real quick mic check. Are you on the Rode mic?
We are on the Rode
choice?
mics, yes.
Okay. Just making sure, because the screen.
I saw you looking down. I was like, is everything okay?
Yeah, no, just double checking.
Okay. One other thing too, to add in there, like if you're a gym, an affiliate that's looking to add some kind of a competition environment, just know that when you are programming something, that it should still flow with what you're doing in the week, right? If you are going to change a program or change a workout, you should still stick with the same general movement patterns. So that way, if you're doing like thrusters one day, you don't have wall balls the next day in class on Monday.
What's cool is in our master's class, there's times where we actually do the class workout of the day.
Oh yeah. And
which is great.
And that's by design. Yeah. Right? That's
cool. Same with the RX Plus too. They'll do the class workout, but they do a different version of it, an upgraded, upscaled version of it. But at the end of the day, I think if you have masters athletes or other athletes that are interested in competing, and you have enough of them, offering a competition class is a great idea. Rather than letting them come together and start training together in open gym, I think that's dangerous. Because it can start to segregate from the community, especially if they start writing their own programming for those kinds of things. If you can if you can get one of your coaches to lead that effort and participate in it, it's even better. And it can be a lot of fun, and it brings the community together, and it creates a bond amongst those athletes that's pretty cool as well.
Yeah,
all those competition athletes get together and they go out together.
Yep. Yeah, they have little sessions after the session.
And we've got a pretty good masters group. And here's the other thing I was going to say. The last thing I'm going to say: if you do set up a competition class, both for masters and for individuals, set some criteria that your general population has to meet in order to participate in that class. You're going to get a very small percentage of your members, but you will get some that are going to go, "Hey, I want to do that class." And you're going to know in your heart of hearts that person has no business being in that class.
It's not going to be beneficial for
you. And
you.
it's going to be hard to tell them right? It's going to be, you know, they're going to feel wounded, like they're
Yeah.
not being included, like you're
It's
not
like the
included.
cool kid class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you want to avoid it being the cool kid class. You go, great.
Yeah.
And Yvonne's really good at this. She goes, here's the criteria. And we actually have it on our mind body system. So when you click on that class, it'll tell you what the criteria is for that class. And you can set that criteria. It's really easy to set that criteria. Ours are like, you know, 1 or 2 workout times, you know, a Helen time or a Fran time in a certain amount of time.
Certain barbell lifts, gymnastic skills available.
That's right. Those types of things you need to be able to do. And we tell them like 8 out of 10 or 10 out of 12 things. And if they can get those things, chances are they probably are qualified. And there's a little bit of gray area sometimes on some of them. But have that set that criteria up front. Don't create it on the fly. If you put that comp class out, have that criteria, know what it is. Yeah. Because you're going to get some people asking, oh, I want to do that class.
You'll have just even just the fact that like we've had drop-ins, like just random people that are, know, just want to check out the gym or want to do class. And it's like, how much CrossFit you got? Yeah. I got a few months. It's like, this isn't the class for you, buddy. I'm sorry. This is a coach participated class. It's not a coach led class like the rest of our classes are.
On the other end of this spectrum, we have had some athletes drop in, top competitive athletes drop in, and they come to our class and they love it.
It only
it's really
fuels the environment, right?
It's really cool. Yeah. So set those criteria early, and then adhere to them so that you don't dilute the class or make it difficult so that you don't want to be having lots of difficult conversations.
Yeah. Make it easy on yourself.
Yeah. Make it easy on yourself. So that's that. And you got to stay on as the affiliate owner, you got to stay on top of it. Keep checking the pulse on that class, show up yourself and watch how they operate. Like, and if members are telling you feel like you're spending too much time, that the gym itself is focusing too much on competition, pay attention to that.
Yeah. That's a good signal.
It is a good signal. It's worked for us in the past when we've been there where we were leaning too heavily into one, and it can affect your general population, which pays the bills.
It's your bread and butter.
That is your bread and butter.
Yeah.
But again, the competition team creates fans of the sport. Fun to watch. It's exciting to see what the human capacity is, even within your own gym. And people do workouts. You're like, holy shit, that can be done that fast.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Especially during the open.
It's very inspiring. That's one of the things. We should add that during the open, one of the things we do is we give those competition athletes their own heat.
Yeah.
And so everybody kind of hangs out to watch it.
Yeah. It's a big spectacle. I mean, we have people that come in that aren't even doing the open workout to watch it.
Come to watch it.
Yeah.
It's really fun. That's really fun to do, by the way. So you know, leverage the hell out of those athletes to create some energy in your gym.
Yeah.
It was something I wrote about, or actually I tweeted about. It was Chris McCurry gave me this thought. You know, we're at, what's the date today? The 9th?
9th, yeah.
We're 9 days into the new year. This is when resolutions get a little tough. It's when goal settings, and I saw a new member come in, and she would come in this morning, it was pouring rain. She's got her baby, and she goes, oh, I said, hey, welcome. So it's her first startup PT. And she goes, and she sat down the baby, and she goes, I got here. And all I was thinking is like,
dude.
Right. It's like all I think about is like when she came in to buy the membership, I remember her, she was like gung ho, this is going to be awesome. And then that first morning it's 7 a.m. coming in with the baby, like
pouring outside.
What have I gotten myself into?
And it was a new baby too.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is the time when as an affiliate owner, think about your newer members. Like, this is the time maybe to touch base with them and pat them on the back, say, hey, keep it up.
Yeah.
It gets easier. The first, it takes 21 days to make a habit, but I'm going to say the first 6 weeks are rough. You want to get them through, ideally, you want to get them through 3 months. You get them through 3 months, and then it becomes like, you're going to keep seeing them.
Yeah.
But it's going to take a little bit of pushing. And on the other side of that, there's the behavioral changes that we put in place not only with a fitness, but also with nutrition. And Chris McCurry gave me a good one that I put out. I tweeted out, and then I put it on Instagram, and it seemed to be popular. A couple people said something to me about it because I hadn't thought about it. It was really cool. It was how he took his cholesterol from I think he was like 224, and he took it down below 200 to like 192 over like a 6-month period of time. He said he was eating every morning he'd go to Starbucks, get a coffee and get a muffin. Thought no big deal. Got a healthy muffin every morning. But they got his blood work done, and as part of a physical, his testosterone was high, or his cholesterol was high, and the doctor wanted to put him on statins to bring it down. And he said, you know what, I'm going to take care of this myself through changes in my diet.
Kick the muffin.
And he kicked the muffin. But here's how he did it. It was really cool. He goes, I literally started thinking about it over 2 years, like 2 years, a muffin a day. He goes, basically 700 muffins. And he goes, and then I pictured the 700 muffins. What does 700 muffins look like? He's like, holy crap.
It's like a picture for you.
Well, dude, when you think about it, but one a day is not that big a deal. But when you think 700 muffins, you put and you picture it in a small room.
Yeah.
Like standing there with those 700 muffins, you're like, okay, what's that going to do to my body?
Yeah. I mean, that's how chronic illnesses begin, right?
Well, that's right. And so I started thinking about it. I'm like, wow, I go, that is pretty powerful. It's a cool visual image. That's how you that's how you can stop stuff. And you can do the same thing with beer.
Yeah.
Add up your average weekly beers and then picture it in a room. And then, and then think about trying to get through those beers.
Beer, wine, ice cream,
vanilla lattes.
Oh, fuck.
Right. I had a brown sugar latte one day when I do coffee with my daughter on Wednesdays, and that was their special. I'm like, you know what? I want to try that. It was so freaking good. I drank it and I was like, first of all, you drink it super fast.
Yeah.
Because it's got heavy cream and then brown sugar latte. Like I drink like I didn't even. I was like,
talking about
it was
dopamine hit.
Oh my god! But it was outstanding, and all I could think about was like, well, this is literally an addictive drink.
Yeah,
literally an addictive drink. And under the guise of, oh, it's my coffee of the day.
Yeah,
I didn't even want to know how many calories were in it, but I didn't do it again. But anyway, so I picture a room full of brown sugar lattes, and it's like that's going to change my body if I have one a day for 2 years.
Yes, which a lot of people do.
That's right. And so I think that I like the idea of using that type of visualization impression to one, keep a picture of of your future you in mind. Like, what do you look like 2 years from now in your mind? What do you want to look like, and keep a picture of that? Or two, the opposite is, picture all those things you're going to eat and put them in a room and like, oh shit, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So right now is the time. 9 days in, for the next 2 weeks are going to be really difficult for people for resolutions.
Yeah.
This is when you got to hang in there, grind it out.
Yeah.
Now is when you grind it. It will get better. And especially where we are now, it's raining like shit. It hasn't rained here in 7 years. And now all of a sudden it's raining. People don't know what to do.
Yeah. It's panicking.
It's hard. It's hard to get to the gym. You don't want to get to the gym. You got an excuse to not come to the gym. Oh, the roads are shitty. Roads are closed. Ignacio was closed this morning, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, that's what Erica said.
Hey.
I know.
That's kind of
that's
new.
A thoroughfare.
that's a new one.
Yeah. Anyway,
that's a big, tall. It's got a big elevation. Like,
yeah, it does.
Was there a mudslide or something?
I don't know what it was. She didn't say.
I could see a mudslide because there's a couple of spaces where there's like the
hillsides coming down.
I could see that.
And then Road Royalty starts this week on Thursday. So if you haven't signed up, it's an online competition, 4 weeks, 4 workouts. We announce on Thursdays. It's a lot like the Open. We announce the workouts on a Thursday at noon. You got to get it done by Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific time, just like the Open. You get one shot at it. You can try and do it multiple times. Some people do it multiple times. So some of these rowers will do it multiple times. So they'll test it and then they'll do it again. The people that are truly,
some of the workouts could be redone, but some of them you're probably not going to.
You're probably not going to want to do. But anyway, those get announced this Thursday. So if you haven't signed up, sign up. You have until Monday to sign up and then enter your score. Submit your score. And all you have to do is take a screenshot.
Yep.
It's really easy to do, but it also kind of gives you the feel of the Open, so that by the time the Open comes around, without terribly impacting your
community.
Well, no. Well, your community, but also terribly impacting your own
fitness
training,
progressions,
your own training, your own personal training.
Yeah.
Like you can fit in these row workouts
basic
without
monostructural.
Monostructural. So sign up. It's a lot of fun. And what's cool is the first workout.
Oh yeah.
Shut up in a row.
Yeah.
And it is fully intended as it reads.
Yeah.
After last year's debacle. Shut up in a row. So that's the first one, but that's not the reason why I did it.
Yeah,
a little bit, but it is for the Big Fish Foundation. which is Tosh, who's Nicole Carroll's partner, and 3 of his buddies who are all ex-Mill guys, and a couple Navy SEALs, I think ex-Marine Special Forces, 4 guys. Not a lot of rowing experience. About a year and a half ago, decided to do this challenge, the Talisker Whiskey Challenge, rowing across the Atlantic Ocean. And it's a 3,000-mile journey from Africa to continent of Africa to the North America. Okay, because it ends up in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
But it is an amazing journey. They are now about 30. They're about 30 days in. They're about 1 month in right now. They've got
a long time to be on a row.
Oh, dude, four guys row, and they row 3 guys row at a time.
Yeah,
and 1 guy doesn't row.
Yeah,
and that person, they just shift, and so you basically get an hour of sleep, an hour to 90 minutes of sleep, and then you come back out and you just cycle through. Oh, it's a long time rowing, dude. It's like, and these guys got about 6 more days, and they've had all kinds of seas. They've had battery issues with their automatic tiller.
There was there another team that had a battery with the automatic tiller?
Yeah.
Like the thing that's directing them in the right way.
Yeah.
I saw another team.
Tiller broke.
Okay.
They had a tiller that broke.
I saw another team capsized.
Oh, yeah.
That sucks.
Oh, yeah. They well, so those boats are made to auto, capsize. And if all the hatches are closed, nothing,
stays dry
over.
inside.
Stays dry. You get
a mess.
Yeah, a mess.
It's a mess inside, but.
And they, and theirs didn't right. So theirs flipped, and then it didn't correct. And so they had to withdraw. Which you're out in the ocean, but there's not a rescue boat like nearby. No. You've got to wait a long time.
I mean, that's like adding insult to injury. Is like you have to withdraw at this point. Like you rode all the way out in the middle of the Atlantic, and then you're done. And
they've got all kinds of crazy stuff. Anyway, so that's who this is named after. And so if you register for Row Royalty, we're going to give $1 of every registration to their charity, which is Big Fish Foundation, which goes towards helping bring awareness to the issues surrounding veteran suicide and helping prevent veteran suicide. So that's kind of a cool thing.
That's awesome.
So sign up and you'll help contribute to that, and then watch those guys and if you go to Instagram, it's @Team Shut Up and Row, and I'm blown away. And these guys they're killing it.
Yeah.
When they told me, so it was
where are they?
February of 2021 is when I was at an event for CrossFit, and I started talking to 2 of the guys, and I was like, "There's no fucking way you're gonna do this." Like they were telling me they're gonna do it. I'm like. And I remember talking to Chris, who owns Trident Athletics, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna." And I'm like, "You like a rower? You know? Have you rowed like then he crewed?
Have you ever been out in open water?"
No. And I think he's not even that good of a swimmer. I think I remember, and I was like, all I was thinking, like,
this is what 2021. You said,
yeah,
February. Some time to practice.
February 2021, and those guys set a goal. But Nicole's husband, Tosh Brian Chontosh, they call him Tosh for short. He runs those he does the diesel days, which are the 24-hour. He takes in anyone that wants to sign up and pay him $1,500 for a weekend, and he does like 24 hours staying awake and exercising, and he takes you on trail runs for 24 hours. Like they're brutal, but then he gets them to open up and talk, and it's really like life altering
growth. It's an opportunity for growth.
And I want to do one of his diesel days, and because everybody just that comes out of it is like, that was one of the most amazing things in my life.
That's cool.
But he's got that work ethic. Like he can just flip a switch and go. Like,
is he military?
Yeah, he's I think he's Navy SEAL.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah. So anyway, so those 4 guys, they're out there grinding, and they're killing it, and they're trying to podium. And there's 3 other boats ahead of them. I think they're in 4th right now. Anyway, so the first workout's named after those guys, and we're going to give a charity contribution to those guys, and follow them at Team Shut Up and Row.
Yeah.
And at Big Fish Foundation, you can get all the information too.
It's awesome.
Anyway, that's all I had. Do you got anything else?
No. Actually, well, we have teen trials still coming up May 13th. Yep. This one's for the kids.
Yep.
Talking about growing fans of the sport. This is the future.
Yeah, we do have to do this. This is kind of an obligation we're putting on ourselves. I don't want to do it, but we're going to do it.
Yeah, it's. I mean, honestly, I think
we need to get more young people in the sport.
It's something that has to be done. I mean, there's the whole teen category for the Open. what is feeding that?
Right.
We've got to do something to help feed that.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good
drive.
point. There's nothing really feeding that.
Yeah.
There's no feeder into that. There's no, youth soccer league that
helps. Yeah, there's no. So hopefully I'm hopeful that we're going to be able to even get involved with some of these local high schools to, get some athletes out and just getting them exposed to CrossFit.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And the programming is already exposed, so there's no secret hidden things that are going to come out that are going to catch people off guard, but it's going to be a great event.
Their Waterpalooza is this weekend.
Yeah.
We can talk a little bit about that on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to watching that and the events there. And we'll probably do so. Shout out to Lawn Chair Leaderboarding. Go to Lawn Chair Leaderboarding. Those guys have a fantasy basically CrossFit league or fantasy functional fitness league.
Yeah.
Where you can basically go in and select the athletes that are on your team. I can select any number of athletes, and then we can limit.
You can set the parameters for the tournament,
right? And then you choose which athlete you want to be in your athlete for that workout, and their score is your score.
Yeah,
and it goes to your quote team, and then you can go head to head with other people. So we're gonna run a fantasy competition for Waterpalooza. We can talk about that and how that went. That's Lawn Chair Leaderboarding. All right. I think that's it. How long do we go? About 45 minutes, 50 minutes?
46:17.
Perfect.
Money.
Nailed it. All right.
All right, guys.
See ya. Cheers.